Hello everybody, my name is Evan, founder and CEO of Gentatech, and in this video we are going to look at how to set permissions on shared drives and some of the implications that those permissions have. We'll just go ahead and jump in and get started here. So we'll click on shared drives. We see we already have a test drive here. There's two ways to set permissions, and there's two ways that this needs to be done properly. We'll click on these three dots. First one, you need to divvy out access on a member basis, and this is done through, we'll go through that again, managing members. And the second way is to set the permissions on the shared drive itself, which is done through shared drive settings, and we'll go look at each of those. But first, I want to make sure we understand this. So when it comes to Google Drive, the permissions are recursive. They cascade down throughout the shared drive. So what that means is whatever permissions you set at the shared drive level, when we enter this, those permissions are going to apply to everything within that shared drive. I know when it comes to my drive, a lot of people are used to having to manually share one thing to another person. That's not how shared drives work. These are what's made to do the best that it can to reflect a file server. So you kind of have to get in the mindset of this is a team-oriented software that's meant to divvy out access in a way that's as easy as possible. So let's look at membership, okay? So we manage members, and there are a couple different levels here. We have manager, content manager, contributor, commenter, and viewer. We're not going to go through what each of these mean. It's pretty extensive and some large implications on some software that you may use downstream, such as Google Drive for Desktop. But what we will look at here, really quick, go to this Google documentation page, and we can see some of the permissions that each of these access levels give you. And again, this is Google's documentation for shared drive specifically. So as you can see, this is pretty extensive. So we're not going to go through that now, but each one of these levels will give you a different level of access. Another thing to take note of is there's no owner level when it comes to access level for shared drives. That's because the organization itself owns the drive, and that's very beneficial because let's say you have Jane Doe at yourtenant.com. If for whatever reason Jane Doe deletes their account, whatever the case may be, it will really have to be an administrator. If they don't transfer that, the data in there, that would also be deleted. When it comes to a shared drive, the organization owns the data. So there's really kind of a foolproof way of making sure everything within your organization stays owned by the organization if it's created within a shared drive. Another caveat to that is regardless of who in your organization creates something, if they're working out of shared drives, the ownership level will automatically be attributed to the organization itself. So that's really cool. Okay. So again, the first thing we'll do is select the membership level. And as we just saw, that has a huge implication on security. But after that, we can also set security at the shared drive level itself. And there's a couple of things here. We have access and role permissions. This one down here really falls under role permissions as well, but we'll start with access. Okay. So number one, allow people outside of Gentatech Hub to access files. Okay, if we have this checked, it does exactly what it says. If you're outside of the tenant, this still allows somebody to be able to access files within your tenant. So if Jane Doe decides to share something in a shared drive outside of the tenant, maybe this is to a vendor, something along those lines. If you have this box checked, that would be the first step to allow that outside person access. But if you don't check this box, that means no matter what happens, nobody outside of your tenant can access files within that shared drive. Full stop. So that's a great way to make sure all of the data in your tenant stays in your tenant if that's something that your business requires, okay? Go down one, we see allow people who are not shared drive members to access files. This is pretty important. This is intra-tenant, and what that would look like, let's say we have one shared drive for maybe the management team, another one for marketing. Let's say we need, as a manager, to share something with somebody in marketing. If this box is checked, that will allow them to access something in the shared drive as long as they're given access, of course. But if this box is not checked, regardless of what we do down the road, if they're not a member of the management shared drive, they cannot access anything in it. So again, another great way to control access to things that need to be in specific drives. This is great for something like finance drives, management, ownership, company documentation. legal documents, things that really need to stay segmented and in their own little cocoon. Okay. Going down, we see role permissions. And this is very easy here. Allow content managers to share folders. Again, content manager is going to be an access level, right? We can see that here. Okay. And if we check that, that just means that if somebody is assigned content manager, they have the ability to share folders. Then obviously, if it's not, they will not have the ability to do so. Okay. See what else we have here. And the last two are contributors and content managers and commenters and viewers have the ability to download, copy, and print. If this is checked, they can do that. If this is not checked, they will not be able to do that. That is a very, very high-level overview of what the basic permission settings on a shared drive looks like. There's actually a couple more in the admin panel. We'll look at those down the road. But that will be a good place to start. Now remember, okay, these permissions are recursive. They cascade down throughout the entire structure of the shared drive. So if you set permission levels at the shared drive level, everything in that shared drive, every file, every folder will have the same amount of access. Sorry, the person that you allow access will have the same amount of access all the way downstream. So that's just keep that in mind. Very important, something to remember. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at info@gentatech.com, and we'll continue digging into shared drives a lot more, see how people tend to use it as a file system. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.